Let's start with something that's helpful for you this fall and holiday season. Support comes from ZBiotics, okay? Welcome everybody to the program, by the way. You know, I like to keep it real, all right? And if I'm going out for a couple of drinks, there's one thing that I always reach for first, and it's called ZBiotics, pre-alcohol. This little pre-alcohol probiotic is a total game changer, okay? So here's the deal. When you drink, your body creates this toxic byproduct in your gut, and that's what makes you feel rough the next morning. ZBiotics was made by real scientists, PhDs, to help break that down before it ever builds up. So I tried it the first time for a dinner party, had my first drink, maybe two, but my first drink was what? The pre-alcohol prebiotic. And the next morning, I felt great, clear, on my game. So now I never forget it. So if you've got parties, if you've got tailgates or holiday toast coming up, make ZBiotics your first drink of the night. Go to zbiotics.com/lemon and use the code LEMON for 15% off of your first order. They even have a money-back guarantee. So you've got nothing to lose except that rough morning. ZBiotics, drink responsibly. Of course, drink responsibly. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Don Lemon Show, Lemon Live at 5. Happy that you're here. Wait till you see who our guest is. I'm going to introduce him in just moments. We're going to talk to you about the president's behavior today and also something that is critical to our intelligence and I think safety here in the world. And that is our biggest ally has decided not to share intelligence with us. So why don't we bring him in now, the man, not even the myth, but the legend. He is a staff writer at The Atlantic and a contributor to the Atlantic Daily newsletter, Mr. Tom Nichols. Tom, good evening. Welcome to the show. How you doing?
I'm well done. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I want to play this. This is breaking news. I believe it's breaking news coming from CNN. I'm going to play part of it, and then I want to get your take on it. Here it is.
A breaking news exclusive now coming into the Situation Room. Watch this. The United Kingdom is suspending some of its intelligence sharing with the U.S. because of the Trump administration's strikes against alleged drug boats in the Caribbean.
We are joined now by senior White House reporter Kevin Liptak and CNN national security correspondent Natasha Bertrand. Natasha, to you first with this exclusive reporting. I mean, this is a big deal. The UK is arguably the closest ally to the United States when it comes to intelligence sharing. What else do we know?
Yeah, Pam, it's a really significant rupture here. Essentially, what we're learning is that the UK is no longer sharing intelligence with the US about these suspected drug trafficking vessels in the Caribbean because it does not want to be complicit in the US military's strikes on these drug vessels and believes fundamentally that the US military's use of force against these vessels violates international law, according to multiple sources that we spoke to. Now, previously, the UK had been happy to help the United States locate and interdict vessels that were transiting the Caribbean that appeared to be trafficking drugs. But the key difference, of course, is that it was helping the Coast Guard intercept those vessels, arrest those on board, seize the drugs, and allowing these individuals to have some semblance of due process. But now the U.S., of course, has started striking these boats unilaterally with military force, killing everyone on board. The total now for number of people killed is around 76. And we're told that the UK is deeply uncomfortable with that, and they believe that it is pretty blatant.
So basically, Donald Trump is doing nationally what he's doing here. He doesn't care. He believes that he's a dictator, can do whatever he wants. But just to look, I hate to quote someone who's in the chat, but someone said, this is really bad.
Yeah, this is really bad. I mean, this is not, the UK is more than just our closest ally. I mean, this is family. We've always had a close intelligence and military relationship with the UK. And for them to do this, I think that's rendering a judgment. They're saying they think it's wrong. They think it's probably against international law and immoral. Until we hear more from London, I'm not sure exactly what their reasoning is, but I'm going to guess that they just don't want to be involved in this, that they think that the president's just arbitrarily killing people on the high seas, and the United Kingdom can't be a part of that. And that's one thing. If countries that aren't really crazy about you, or that you're not particularly close to, come out and say, "Well, we don't want to cooperate with the United States on something like this," when your closest friend and ally in the world tells you that they're pulling back from you, that's a signal that something's going really wrong, and it's really disturbing.
Well, what they're saying is that they don't trust us anymore. And I don't know how you regain that trust, Tom.
Well, it we lost some of that trust after the first Trump administration. We had to rebuild it, and it comes back if and when Trump is gone. I hope, but it's more than just not trusting us. They think that what we're doing is wrong, which is why they don't want to be involved in it. That's a big deal. I mean, again, your closest ally in the world says we think what you're doing is immoral and we don't want to be a part of it. That's pretty bad.
Well, what does this say for the president of the United States? Here in the United States, he is immune from any sort of prosecution or anything. But basically, the UK government is saying that they don't want to be complicit in actions they believe that may violate international law. So if the administration under this president is violating international law, what are the repercussions? Are there any here?
No, I hate to just say it and be so depressing about it. But no, there are no repercussions. We are not signatories to the International Criminal Court. It's unlikely that the president could be indicted by that court, which would make it harder for him to travel to other places. The thing that governs international law is that other states make determinations about what you're doing is wrong, and the Brits have taken a big step forward to do that. But the president, the Supreme Court has unleashed this guy to say that any official acts, basically have immunity. What they're really saying is the only remedy for this is impeachment and the political process. That's not going to happen either. So, I think Donald Trump and the people around him have figured out that, yeah, he really can pretty much do anything he wants. Now, that immunity will not extend to people below Donald Trump. And I'm not surprised to find out that people at the Pentagon have been talking to their lawyers. But in international law, it doesn't have a lot of enforcement mechanisms, unfortunately, for something like this.
Has this? I would assume this has happened before. Is this unprecedented, or has this happened before, to your knowledge?
This being countries simply deciding to kind of whack people overseas, pretty unusual. Rogue states do it to dissidents. Putin murders people who oppose him wherever he can find them. But this kind of decision to simply saying, we can point at anybody in the world and declare them terrorists and kill them, that is unprecedented. We didn't even do that after 9/11. I mean, we made a case to the world. The president at the time, George Bush, made a case to the Congress, wanted to get an authorization. We went to the Security Council. Trump isn't doing any of that. He's basically, and again, give him credit for a kind of lizard brain talent here of saying, if I just do this and just assert that it's right and do it enough times, people will just get used to it. I mean, there was a big outcry after the first few strikes, and now we're up to what, 17, 18, a death toll that's pushing, 80 people. And, here we are talking about it. But that's not, if the UK hadn't done this, we probably wouldn't even be talking about that story today.
Yeah. Well, Tom, I think this perfectly goes along with something that you wrote recently, just a couple of days ago in The Atlantic, and it is named "A Confederacy of Toddlers. The Trump Administration is a regime of troubled children." Do you think this goes into it? And then we'll talk about what's happening here in America. This international thing is really frightening beyond, what's happening here. But you said basically a confederacy of toddlers. Talk to children.
Well, mostly in that piece, I'm talking about the reaction whenever they're challenged. When somebody, when Serge Dade says, "Hey, who picked the spot for this possible UK or US Russia summit in Hungary?" And Carolyn Levitt says, "Your mom." They have this kind of sixth grade troubled child sensibility. But one thing that is, I think, related to that about these boat strikes is that they do stuff like this just to prove that they can, just to kind of flex that muscle and show people that they can do whatever they want. I've used this quote before. It's something I stole from Henry James from the classic novella, The Turn of the Screw, where this nasty kid who's being under the tutelage of a ghost, he does something terrible, and his governess says, "Why did you do that?" And the kid smiles and he says, "To show you that I could, and that I will again." And that is a big part of what this administration does with everything. Why are you black bagging people off the streets in Chicago? Why are you blowing up ships? In part to establish the precedent that the president can do anything he wants. And if anybody watching is a fan of The Boys on Amazon, I wrote a piece a few months ago. I called the President Homelander. He's like the character Homelander, who always says, "I'm superpowered and I can do anything I want and nobody can ever say no to me." And I think that's partly why they do these things, just to prove that they can.
Let's talk about healthcare, the government shutdown. The Senate voted to reopen the country, reopen the government. Now it has to go to the House. We had 7 Democrats and 1 independent who defected and voted with the Republicans, and much to the chagrin of Chuck Schumer. Where do you stand on this? Is it good that it's back open? Do you think Democrats should have lasted a little longer?
The problem, trying to win a shutdown is like trying to win a nuclear war. And, my colleagues, Russell Berman and John Lemire, have a piece in today's Atlantic where they point out that no party that's ever initiated a shutdown has ever gotten the thing they wanted out of the shutdown, whether it's Republicans or Democrats. That it never happens. Republicans couldn't stop the ACA when they tried to shut down the government under Obama. The Democrats couldn't get what they wanted out of Trump during the last shutdown before this one. So at some point, these things have to end. And the only question is, who takes the most political damage from it? So with all that long throat clearing and kind of warm up to it, I think it had to end, if only because the longer it went on, and if it went into Thanksgiving and the airports melted down worse than they already are, I think people would have started spreading the blame around to everybody, because that's what happens when Americans get pissed off about things going wrong. They just start, flaming everyone in sight. And I don't think it was the worst outcome to end this while the blame was still resting heavily on the Republicans. And I also think, people are now going to see what happens when the Republicans get what they want, which is that people are going to lose their health insurance, or they're going to not be able to pay for their health insurance. And, that's going to cause a lot of human misery. But, in a way, if that's what people voted for, then they need to see the consequences of it. And that can be changed. Remember, this is only it's like a 90-day continuing resolution, another one of these kind of, stopgap Band-Aids that will come up again in January. We might be living in a very different political environment by January.
Tom, I'm not sure if you watch social media or my social media, but I always go out and talk to people. I like to do man on the streets. It's one of my favorite things to do. And I was out and about here in cold Washington, D.C. last night. I was lucky enough to be at I don't know if you've heard of Politics and Prose. I'm sure the bookstore here, if you've sold books,
Great. Yeah. I've given talks there. Love that store.
Yeah, great store. So I was there last night and with Nicole Hannah-Jones, who works at the New York Times and wrote the 1619 Project, and then April Ryan, who is the longest serving White House correspondent right now in the White House Correspondents Association, or at the White House. And I got a chance to talk to some people about the shutdown. Now, Andy, there's one that has, I think there's a version of a number of different people giving their response to the shutdown. If we can play that one, that would be great, or whichever one that you have. To the Republicans.
I'm extremely disappointed because I feel like they gave up.
I was ready. I wanted them to hold the line and stick it out.
I feel sad because it shows that we have no backbone.
I mean, if it's going to reopen the government, that's good. The government's still in bad shape anyway, but it needs to be open. the Democratic wave has had a hit. So we have to see how that plays out and see what the House will do if it does go to the House. Hakeem Jeffries says, hey, I'm going to fight, but he needs 3 Republicans. So who are those 3?
I don't know if he's going to get 3.
I think the Democrats did a good job overall, and people see the Republicans for what they are, and the Republicans, now it's up to them to whether or not they actually want to honor the people.
Here we are again at the same place we've been, except this is a different period. I felt like we were doing really well with the amount of time that we did wait. So to go this amount of time for these reasons, I don't feel like was sufficient.
So I understand all the practicalities around this, that people were suffering, people weren't getting paychecks, and all of those things, right? Furloughed. I went through the airport, and the looks on the faces of the folks who work for TSA and the conversations I had with them, I mean, would break your heart, right? One guy shared with me, I'm not, I haven't gotten 3 paychecks, and they're about to go into a 4th. You know what I mean, Tom? But
hey, until 2 years ago,
the expectations were high.
I was a federal employee. I was furloughed during shutdowns. I know exactly how that feels.
But what I'm saying is the expectation was high for Democrats, and now they feel let down, regardless of what the practicalities are and what may have been accomplished or could have been accomplished or not accomplished.
Well, okay, but the people you were talking to are the most engaged kind of, Democratic voters. The problem for the Democrats is that they always have to play for kind of that marginal voter, for that undecided voter, for the voters who may just stay home, or not Trump voters. You're never going to convince them.
Right.
But I worry sometimes that Democratic voters, they get these super high expectations saying, this time we were going to fight, this time we were going to win. If Trump wasn't going to cave and the Republicans were willing to let the whole country melt down, which they were more than willing to do, apparently, eventually that wasn't, first of all, that doesn't achieve anything, and it was going to hurt the Democrats at some point. I think I agree with the fellows. One guy with a W on his shirt, and he was talking about, at some point you have to reopen the government. They made their point. And one reason I agree with that is here we are talking about healthcare, which, until recently, until the Democrats did this, nobody was really talking about. And now the Republicans have to own what's about to come next with what they're going to do to healthcare subsidies. So, in that sense, they did achieve something. But the real question is, what to the people who say, I wanted them to keep fighting, how long and to what end is always the question. How long like I said, if this were going on through Thanksgiving and into Christmas, I think, at some point, Jeffries and Schumer and everybody else, the Democratic Party would have started to take the blame for it. They think of it this way: the Democrats may have ended this when they were gotten as far and as gotten as much out of it as they could get.
Yeah,
that's an optimistic interpretation, but I just don't think the Republicans were going to cooperate on this.
One of the comments that was just up on the screen, a commenter said, Donald Trump got what he wants, and Democrats now look weak.
I think, I don't think that's true. The Democrats are the minority party. The Republicans had to deal with a shutdown. They owned it. I mean, the polls were against them on this. The other thing is now, the Republicans got what they want, but as the old saying goes, be careful what you wish for, because now they're going to end those subsidies in this budget, and they're going to have a debate or not. Because that's the other thing. If they choose to duck out of this promised vote on healthcare, that becomes an issue. I don't think any of this was good for the Republicans in any way. And I think, I get that people want the Democrats to have spine, but there's also, when I used to teach strategy at the Naval War College, we always say, doomed crusades are romantic, but they're not good strategy. And at some point, the shutdown was going to have to end. How does it end? The other possibility that it could have ended with the Republicans nuking the filibuster.
Yes.
Which some Democrats wanted, some Democrats don't. But when Donald Trump wants it, that was his preferred outcome, and reports are that he's kind of pissed that he didn't get it. You have to ask yourself, what exactly was Donald Trump planning to do with ending the filibuster?
Someone says, thank you for the clarity, Tom. We cannot do another round of purity tests. And so thank you for that comment. You're free to respond to that. But also, Mike Johnson is already saying he's not promising anything as it relates to healthcare. A conversation, nothing.
Yeah. Well, this is I used to work in the Senate briefly in my misspent youth. And this is always part of what goes on between the House and the Senate. The House says, well, a bunch of senators got together and said, we're not going to do any of that. Doesn't matter. I mean, the fact is, the Senate leadership and the Republicans have, in theory, committed to this. Mike Johnson's got a whole bunch of other problems, and which is why he won't open the House, why the House has only been open for business like 20 days in the past 3 months. And you don't want to be Mike Johnson right now. So that's, he can say that he's not going to play ball about a vote, but right now this whole game took place without Mike Johnson really being that involved. And after he has to seat some Democrats, and after what happened last Tuesday, like I said, Mike Johnson's not living in a happy world.
Tom, I can't tell you how much our folks like you. And so we appreciate you coming here, Tom Nichols. The comments are always great. The Lemonheads, Lemon Nation loves you. And so we thank you for joining us. You have a great evening. Thanks for putting things into perspective for us. We'll see you soon.
You too. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Tom Nichols is a staff writer over at The Atlantic and also a contributor to the Atlantic Daily Newsletter. Okay, so more to the point of Donald Trump seems cooked. His brain, at least, in my opinion, and some other folks' opinion as well. It is bizarre. I don't know. Did you guys see him today? Did you listen to him at the Tomb of the Unknown? Did you listen to him when he made his Veterans Day address? Didn't make much sense. And this is very frightening, especially now when we're in such an unstable world, to have a leader who appears to be unstable, but then talks so much about Joe Biden and his instability and his cognitive decline. We're going to show you the proof. We're going to show you the evidence of things that are seen and heard today, right after a word from our sponsors. Today's show is brought to you by Ollie. As you guys know, my dogs are my family. Boomer, Barkley, and Gus Gus, little Gus Gus, they run the house. So when it comes to their food, I don't play around with it. That's why I switched to Ollie. It is fresh human-grade food made with real ingredients that you can actually see. Beef, chicken, vegetables, slow cooked and designed by veterinarians or vet nutritionists. So even Barkley, even Gus Gus, even Boomer, they all used to be the pickiest thing ever, right? They clean their bowls now every single time. And the best part, Ollie customizes the meal plan for your dog's needs. Just take their 30-second quiz and they do the rest. Plus, the Ollie app connects you with real experts that can help you and your pup stay healthy and happy, okay? So head to ollie.com/lemon, take the quiz, and use the code LEMON for 60% off of your first box. And if your dog doesn't love it, Ollie's going to give you your money back. No questions asked. That's OLLIE.com/lemon. Okay, everyone, it is getting cold out there. So support comes from Cozy Earth. You ever have that one quiet holiday moment, tree lights on, house finally calm, maybe a little music, and you're curled up under a blanket thinking, this right here is peace, man. I'm protecting my peace. This is amazing. Maybe the doggy's in there and it's just, right? It could be snowing outside. I don't know. That's the vibe that Cozy Earth gives me all year long. Their sheets and blankets are made of bamboo viscose, soft, breathable, and they keep you cool all night long. So I got them as a gift, and now I have been paying it forward ever since. My mom and my family, they are obsessed. So Cozy Earth even gives you a 100-night sleep trial and a 10-year warranty. So you really can't go wrong here. And listen, Black Friday came early. So stack my code DON on top of their statewide sale for up to 40% off. That's CozyEarth.com. Use the code DON and then wrap the ones you love in a little luxury or treat yourself. Wrap the ones you love in a little luxury. I like that line, Don Lemon. Well, I guess why I wrote it. Talking to myself, I know. Now I'm going to talk about someone else who has issues. Anyhow, someone said if you talk to yourself, did you guys hear that? Let me know in the chat. That means that's a sign of a genius or a smart person or whatever. I answer myself sometimes. Most of the time I talk to myself when I say, I walk into a room and I go, why am I in this room? Or that I just have seen my earpiece all day today and then I go to look for it for the show and it's nowhere. I'm sure someone came in and stole it, even though no one has been in the room. Maybe it was a gremlin. Anyway, I digress. Okay, so let's talk about this. And usually, I like to do my monologue sort of at the beginning of the show, but we had Tom Nichols, and Tom needed to get on at the top of the show. So let's discuss some of this. I was thinking about what I saw today, and I just can't really shake it. The President of the United States stood at Arlington National Cemetery on Veterans Day, and I mean, it was painful to watch. His words were jumbled, his thoughts wandered, and at times he looked like he didn't even know what point he was trying to make. It didn't make sense, some of his things. He tried to rename Veterans Day Victory Day. He said that he'd add some other wars later. He said that we won big time. It's such a direct, just obvious and glaring contrast to what we saw Barack Obama on that heroes flight, the Veterans Heroes flight, greeting our veterans. Such a marked decline of the presidency. The audience stood there not knowing, they didn't know whether to clap. They didn't know if they needed to look away. They had no idea. Now, look, I've covered a lot of presidents in my life, in my time as a journalist, but I have never seen anything like this. And it wasn't just a couple of one-offs, like forgetting somebody's name or misspeaking or whatever. It was a bunch of it. It's one thing to honor veterans. It is quite another thing to use this moment to polish your own ego. What happened at Arlington National Cemetery, this wasn't a ceremony. It was confusion. I mean, the man looked confused, and on full display. And that confusion did not stop there. The night before, he sat down with Laura Ingraham on Fox News, a rambling, lie-filled interview, and it was from start to finish. He said that energy prices were at record highs. He said that, energy prices are at record highs. By the way, they are not. He said that Democrats control the Senate. And on that one, I mean, no, he said, or they don't control the Senate. I don't even understand what he was talking about. I mean, Republicans control the Senate. He said Biden shut down veterans' hospitals. That never happened. That never happened. And then came a very strange part. And look, I don't know what he meant. Maybe he didn't mean to say it. So I'll just say allegedly to all of this. He started talking about magnets in China. He made sweeping comments about HBCUs. And at one point, he confused Ilhan Omar with Jasmine Crockett. His sentences did not connect at all. The logic was not there at all. It was like watching a man lose his place in his own story. Have you ever been in the middle of a speech or something, and then you lose your place, and then you try to fumble it? The easiest thing to do is go, oh, wait a minute, I lost my place. And just to be, right? Instead of trying, because when you try to fix it, you make it worse, right? He asked Laura Ingraham to repeat her question because he'd forgotten what they were even talking about. And when she tried to move him along, he just kept looping back to the same phrases, okay? So he does the same recycle grievances. It's not politics anymore. He's just performance. And I guess I don't know if he's going through the motions. I have no idea what he's doing. I hate to even play all of this stuff for you because it's painful to watch. I had it on as I was writing earlier when he was doing this, and I had it on in the background. And just it was a low hum, because the only time I watch cable is because it's right in your face when you're in a hotel. I mean, Tim comes, he doesn't even turn the TV on. I'll turn the TV on and goes, oh, look, there's a TV and there's cable on it. And so I'll thumb through. So I was watching MSNBC, and he was in the background, and you could just hear him sounding like this. And everybody, the Democrats are awful, and I'm the best president ever. And then I just went back to this morning listening to Barack Obama saying, hey, thank you for your service. We are honored to, this is an honor for me to be here greeting you, sounding like a president. By the way, I need to write about it. Barack Obama is having a renaissance. Everywhere he goes, people are standing ovations, applauding. The man can't even get through a crowd. And no booing like at the Commanders game. Barack Obama's having a renaissance. Peter, take note. We're going to write about that. And now look, while all this chaos is playing out at home, Great Britain, as I was just speaking about with Tom, is our oldest and closest ally, has decided that they are no longer sharing intelligence with the United States. I want you to think about that for a minute. The country that stood shoulder to shoulder with us through every major war is now stepping back. They don't trust what is happening at the top of our government. And so that's not a headline that we need to skip over. That's a break glass moment. That is a warning flare. You know, the flares that you send up, especially if anybody's as a boater, that's a warning flare. We are watching in real time what happens when instability becomes the brand of American leadership. We're unstable. I mean, you have Great Britain. You heard Tom say that's like family. That's like a family feud right there. And look, I hope you guys know the importance of intelligence sharing and the safety of a country. So in Britain, if we don't have other people looking at having our back, that's troublesome. The veterans who stood beside Donald Trump this morning, behind him, they looked steady, they looked silent, but you could see something in their faces if you really paid attention, that they were proud to serve. But they appeared to be embarrassed by the spectacle in front of them. And I can't blame them. I was speaking to Michael Cohen today. He had a very similar statement. And then also someone who is a veteran. I spoke to them earlier and they told me, it used to mean something when the president showed up here, showed up at Arlington. Now it just feels like another campaign stop, it's a rally. Michael, I think, said that it felt like a Trump rally. That stayed with me because that's exactly what it looked like. That's what it sounded like, even in the low hum behind me. A campaign stop disguised as a commemoration. And it's happening at a time when the world is on edge. We're on edge right now. Russia is pushing again into Eastern Europe. And you guys saw that spectacle in the Oval Office with Zelensky. So we have that. China flexing across the Pacific. Our economy is extremely fragile. Our democracy is extremely fragile. And the person standing behind the podium can't form a clear thought about any of this. So this isn't about party lines. This is not about Democrat or Republican. This is really about stability at this point, although the Republican Party is enabling him. And then, look, I hate to say the Democratic Party is not being strong enough, not pushing back enough, I believe. So this is about stability. It's about competence, and it's about truth. We need to be truthful with each other. Every country we deal with is watching these moments. Every single country, whether they're ally, foe, or friend. They're not just watching the policies and the palace intrigue. They're watching the slurring, the confusion, the sudden changes of topic, the fantasy talk about wars we already won and tariffs that never worked. Now, here is the difference. You can say what you want about Joe Biden. Was he a man of a certain age? Absolutely. Did he look tired at times? Did he confuse things at times? Yes. But at the end of the day, our allies knew that Joe Biden was and is a statesman. There was no one better at foreign policy than Joe Biden. That's the whole reason. One of the main reasons that Barack Obama picked him is because of his foreign policy experience. It's because he was a statesman. It's because he was a competent and learned and a person of wisdom as it relates to America, American government, foreign policy, foreign governments. And so the difference is people knew that Joe Biden was competent himself. Joe Biden on his worst day is better than Donald Trump on his best day. And that Joe Biden had competent people surrounding him and giving him advice. And if something happened to him, they knew what to do and could take over. We don't have that right now. Look at who our Secretary of Defense is. Excuse me, a Secretary of War. I hate to depress you, but look at who those people are. Look at their resumes. Oh, sorry, you can't look at them because they're as thin as this Kleenex, and you can probably write it on a business card. The countries who are watching us, friend or foe, they're seeing a man who has lost his grounding. And the people around him, his aides, his advisors, his party, they know it too. They stand behind him pretending that this is fine, everything is fine, pretending that he is sharp, pretending that this is all normal. But we know it's not. But you can't pretend your way through national security. You can't improvise global diplomacy. And that's what Joe Biden was a diplomat. The world doesn't wait for you to find your words. And yes, this is frightening, not just because he sounds lost, but because no one around him seems willing to say it out loud. And so we need to say it out loud. We need to make them say it out loud. They're all in on this act. They smile, they nod, they spin it for the cameras, right? Every day, it's a show. Let's go into the briefing room every day. I'm sure I don't even watch Fox News, but I'm sure they probably promote the briefing and they're like, oh, good. I'm sure I know. I don't watch, but I know they're probably going, oh, coming up in just a few minutes, a briefing from Caroline Levin. Like, it's a show. And so while all of these folks play along, America's credibility just keeps eroding. It's in the toilet. It's in the tank. And when you've got Britain cutting off intelligence sharing, I mean, look, when the veterans feel used and they're standing around you looking embarrassed, when allies start whispering that Washington has become a risk, that's what they're saying. They no longer trust us. You have to stop and ask, like, what are we doing? What's going on? Because I don't think this is sustainable. And I don't feel that I'm being hyperbolic about it. It is easy to laugh at the clips. And we're going to play some of the clips for you. It's easy to laugh at the mispronunciations, the rambling about magnets and energy prices and trade. That's all easy. But it is not funny anymore, people. This is a man who still has the nuclear codes. He wants to decide who gets aid, who goes to war. He does. And who gets investigated. That's what's happening right now. And the truth is, he doesn't appear to be well. He's not well, in my opinion. Not well. You can hear it, you can see it, you can feel it. Every time he speaks, the gap between what he says and what's real gets louder and wider. And that gap isn't just about him, it's about the rest of us. Because as long as we keep pretending that this is fine, then the country drifts deeper into that gap too. We keep drifting deeper into a gap. So I don't say this with any anger. I say it with concern, because when the leader of a nation can't hold a steady thought on the world stage, it is not just embarrassing. It is dangerous and detrimental to this country. It puts every one of us at risk. So maybe today, maybe it's not about calling him unfit. Maybe it's about asking why we have become so comfortable watching dysfunction and calling it normal, or either just ignoring it. Maybe it's all about asking what it will take for people to stop pretending that they don't see this, and having a different standard for the former president than the current president. Because at this point, even our allies do. The world does, and they are acting accordingly. They're saying, we can no longer trust you. We're cutting off intelligence sharing with you for now until you get better. We're at a crossroads, America. We're at a crossroads, and either we face this reality head on, or we keep letting the country drift and drift and drift while the rest of the world moves on without us. Because it may start with Britain, but that's not where it's going to end. So I don't know about you, but I'd rather stop pretending or ignoring, and I'd rather face it. And now, I'll show you the proof or the evidence of what I'm talking about after a word from our sponsors. You know what makes the perfect holiday gift? Well, it's the next sponsor of this show. It's olive oil. It's Graza. Yeah, I am very serious right now. Not the boring kind of olive oil, the Graza kind. Graza makes single origin, super fresh olive oil, never blended, always from the same season's harvest, and you can even see the date right on the bottle. That's why it tastes so clean. They've got great gift sets too. My favorite is the dinner party pack. It comes with a bottle of wine, 2 kinds of olive oil, chips, a corkscrew. It's basically a dinner party in a box, okay? Or go with their duo gift set, which has the sizzle cooking oil and drizzle finishing oil, both in their signature squeeze bottles or in glass. Trust me, this is a kind of gift people actually use. So go to graza.co/Don and use the code for 10% off of your first order. That's graza.co/Don. Graza makes everything taste better and look good doing it. So today's show is sponsored by Lean. All right, look, let's talk real for a second, okay, everyone? Listen, no shame, no nothing here, because I've been through it. We've all tried those fad diets, the juice cleanses, the crazy detoxes. You lose a few pounds and then you gain it right back. Doctors call it weight cycling, and it can really mess with your heart, your liver, even your blood sugar. That's why I like Lean. It's not a fad. It's not a shot. It's not a prescription. It is an oral supplement made by doctors. The science is solid here. So Lean helps balance your blood sugar, control appetite, and turn fat into energy, the kind of energy that keeps you going instead of crashing. So if you're ready to lose weight, at a healthy pace, and actually keep it off, then it's time to try Lean. Perhaps you should try it. Go to takelean.com and use the code LEMON for 20% off of your order. That's TAKELEAN.com. The code is LEMON. Thanks to all of our sponsors. And thanks to all of our sponsors. I'm so glad to be inside. You guys know how cold it is in Washington, D.C. Did you see me outside of that Capitol last night? I don't know if you've ever, I'll get to the stuff that I'm going to play, but have you ever been in a place where it is so cold that your mouth didn't work, your lips are trying to talk, and it was and maybe you just have to get used to it because we're coming off of the summer? Have you ever been there? And I was literally shaking like this as I was out there last night reporting. It is so cold here. What is it? What is the temperature? Hey Siri, what's the temperature? To do that, you'll need to be online. Okay, Siri's not telling me what the temperature is here, but it is so cold here. I think it felt like it was 30 some degrees, 28 degrees last night is what it felt like. Unbelievable. Really cold. And so I couldn't believe, I was like, oh my gosh. And I've been there when I worked in corporate news for NBC and for CNN. They would send me to these places and it would be so cold that my lips would not work because it's just like your face kind of freezes. Anyhow, I digress. So let's play some of this stuff. Someone in the comment section said, by the way, and I saw, I can't remember who it was, says, can we stop talking about this monster for one day? Trust me, please, whoever you are, I can't remember your name because it went by so fast. The chat is going fast. I would love to. Every day I look for things like, what else can I do? What can I do? What can I do? But today is really important that we talk about him. If you heard the monologue, you heard what I just said. My take, we have to pay attention to him. We can't just ignore it. We have to stop ignoring it. We talk about him a lot, but we ignore his frailties, his alleged cognitive decline. Do you know what I'm talking about? So you cannot ignore it. Okay, so let me play for you some of the stuff just so you know. I'm just going to talk to you today for the rest of the show. I'm just going to talk to you and I'm going to read some of the comments. Okay, so today he says, this is God Bless America. Now I want you to watch this. I don't think he knows the words.
To the
I mean, you tell me. I was like, the only thing he said was "God bless America." Then he was quiet for the whole thing. I mean, we either saying "God bless America" or are we saying the Star Spangled Banner? Oh, say can you see? Or God bless America. I mean, and there are other verses that when I was younger, I knew the other verses, but we just sang the first verse mostly. But I don't think he knew. I don't think I don't think he knew. Someone said something. Well, you know what I do in the thing, laughing my effing A off. Thank you. That was funny. I cannot say that word though. So remember, this is Donald Trump, and I just want to play this, and I'll play what he said about the folks in the military. Let's play that now, and then we're going to get to the today. This is what Donald Trump, according to his former White House chief of staff and a general, said about our men and women in uniform and our veterans.
The first time ever, Kelly sets the record straight with on-the-record confirmation of a number of damning details about Donald Trump from background sources, including from a 2020 Atlantic story reported with unnamed sources by editor-in-chief Jeffrey Goldberg, including the stunning detail that Trump turned to Kelly on Memorial Day at Arlington National Cemetery in 2017 and asked, "I don't get it. What was in it for them?" This is Kelly confirming on the record stories of Trump insulting Senator John McCain and former President George H.W. Bush because in Vietnam and in World War II, respectively, the former aviators were shot down. Kelly describes Trump as, quote, "a person that thinks those who defend their country in uniform or are shot down or seriously wounded in combat or spend years being tortured as POWs are all, quote, suckers because, quote, there is nothing in it for them. A person that did not want to be seen in the presence of military amputees because, quote, it doesn't look good for me. A person that demonstrated open contempt for a Gold Star family, for all Gold Star families on TV during the 2016 campaign."
John Kelly, his former chief of staff, but let him tell it and let his people tell it. He has an axe to grind. I don't know why he would have an axe to grind. There's nothing in it for John Kelly. And here is the president today. You tell me if you understand what he's talking about. Dying without complaining. I have no idea. Play it.
Our dear God, he said, we ask only this, that if we die, we must die, and we as men would die without complaining, without pleading, and safe in the feeling that we have done our best for what we believed was right. We must do what is right. Colonel Wolverton, too, died for us so bravely in battle. Today we remember.
All right. I mean, look, you guys tell me in the comments if I'm wrong. Did that make any sense? I have no idea what. Look. Either he can't read, which maybe he can't, not well. He got lost in the teleprompter in the script, or do you know? Donald Trump his approval rating is among the lowest of any president. The only president in modern history, or just I believe if ever, that is lower is himself in the first term. His approval rating is in the 30s. Now I want you to listen to what he told people today about his approval numbers.
Veterans, we have a 92% approval rating. We took that up from 38% from a certain previous administration that we won't mention.
Now, is he talking about his approval rating among veterans? Or is he talking about his approval rating in general? I don't know if either of those numbers are true. The veterans number, I'd have to check. They took it up from a 38% approval rating for Biden to a 92% approval rating. But if he's talking about overall approval rating, 92%, and he stands there and he expects people to believe that. And why would he even mention that? Because thank you very much, Rosemary, 1971. This is a day for vets, not for him. And that's the point I was making. that he can't even stand there with enough restraint and respect to honor our veterans by making it about them instead of about him. And when I said what Michael Cohen said today, that it felt like a Trump rally, that's why I say that, because of exactly what you say. Donald Trump, this was him in 2023 on the Congressional Medal of Freedom.
And clarify that, because many veterans are upset about that, including here in Pennsylvania.
No, I didn't hear that. I only heard, when I say better, I would rather in a certain way get it, because people that get the Congressional Medal of Honor, which I've given to many, are often horribly wounded or dead. They're often dead. They get it posthumously. And when you get the Congressional Medal of Honor, I always consider that to be the ultimate, but it is a painful thing to get it. When you get the Presidential Medal of Freedom, it's usually for other things, like you've achieved great success in sports, or you've achieved great success someplace else. When you get the Medal of Honor, generally speaking, and I've met many of them, and I've seen the families of many of them, this is an incredible honor, but it was a statement that it's much more painful to get, because they're oftentimes in very bad shape. I've seen them come up and they've suffered greatly, whereas the Presidential Medal of Freedom, to my knowledge, I don't think anybody suffered, other than they've worked hard and they've done great things. One's a military award, one's a civilian award, but sometimes very painful to get the other.
Okay. Okay, so there is a difference. There's a difference between the Medal of Honor and the Medal of Freedom. Okay? And one is as he said, there's a military aspect to it, and the other one is for civilians. Okay? So the Medal of Honor is a military declaration of valor. The Presidential Medal of Freedom is a civilian award. And so he said those awards are given to people who really, really deserve them, right? Who've made the ultimate sacrifice for their country and have done really brave things for their country. Now, he gave Charlie Kirk the Presidential Medal of Freedom, which is just shocking to a lot of people. But there he was in 2023 trying to explain the difference, not really making sense. His 92% approval rating. In the meantime, the country is going to, you know what? Now, I know you guys, now look, when the government opens back up and people start getting, and they're waiting for December for the Senate and the Congress to start voting or taking up health care, which is probably not going to happen. We have open enrollment going on right now for healthcare, and Medicare open enrollment going on right now. And a lot of things are changing. You may think you were locked in, but perhaps you weren't. And that's why we have a health partner to help you out. I want to talk to you about something that really matters, especially if you are 64 years old or older. It's Medicare annual enrollment season. And this is a time to pay attention, everyone. I just went through it with my mom, and perhaps you have been there too, sitting at the kitchen table, buried in paperwork, trying to make sense of it all. Plans have changed. Some were even canceled. And get this, according to the Wall Street Journal, if you're not careful, you could end up paying more, even lose coverage for your doctor, for the doctor that you trust. So pay attention. That's why I am telling you about Chapter. Chapter is the Don Lemon Show Network's new health partner. They review every plan nationwide to find out what's best for you, not what makes them money. Their help is 100% free. It takes about 20 minutes. And on average, people save around $1,100 a year. So don't wait. Call Chapter at 212-931-0855 before December 7th and make sure you and your family are protected. I just want you to be protected. It doesn't cost you anything. And again, it's not, doesn't cost you anything. And I just want you to be protected. Check it out. There's no obligation at all. Okay. Because a lot of people don't know right now. There's such confusion about what's happening. This has been an amazing time to be in Washington, D.C. And I'm here until tomorrow. If you guys have any questions about what's going on, let me know. Also, I want you to know, I want you to know this. Our channel is growing, and there's so many people every day when I walk around. I love you or whatever. Last night I was at Politics and Prose, and it was an amazing crowd with Nicole Hannah-Jones and April Ryan. So I want to say to you, if you want to know anything about the show, go to donlemon.com. Please become a member. Please subscribe. You can click on the watch button. You can do all of those things. And also, I need to tell you, if you want to stay warm out there, go to our merch store. You can also go through donlemon.com and check out some of the things that we have there and anything you want to know about the show. But do become a member, like and subscribe. It's really important for us to be viable out here on these independent streets. And so also coming on November 18th, please, the tickets are almost sold out, so you guys better get in. I'm going to be with Jennifer Welch, Anthony Scaramucci at City Winery on November 18th. And let me tell you, my friends, Scott Galloway and Kara Swisher are doing a tour right now. And maybe there's a surprise guest that may show up at one of those things in Washington, D.C. Who knows? They were in Brooklyn last night. I should have given you the pictures. The crowds were amazing. Oh, man, why didn't I do that? Andy, I should have sent you those. Let's see if I can get it to you. So this was Kara and Scott's. I don't know if I can do this here. I can't. I don't know. But anyway, the crowd was huge. They were in Brooklyn last night in New York City, and they asked me to go, but I couldn't because I'm here in Washington, D.C., and they're in Washington, D.C. tonight. So check them out. If you want to get tickets for them, check it out. And then also check us out at City Winery on November 18th. So here's what I'm going to leave you with, okay? I'm going to tell you this, and then I'm going to play something for you because I want to honor our veterans today. And I think it's best that a president who knows how to do it, does it. Okay. So I will tell you, I'm going to be back here tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Eastern time for Hot Topics on the Don Lemon Show and Don Lemon channel. After you watch this, I want you to be informed without being inundated. And then I want you to turn the TV off. But here now, the forever president of the United States.
This honor flight is to honor all the veterans of World War II, Korea, and Vietnam. It's all free for them. We show them all their monuments and explain what their monuments are about. We just try to treat them with dignity that some of them didn't get when they came home from the war.
Hello, everybody.
What?
As we approach Veterans Day, I wanted to stop by and just say thank you for your extraordinary service. To you, your family, the sacrifices that all of you made to protect our country is something that will always be honored. And we are very grateful, and we also happen to welcome you with a 70-degree day in D.C., which doesn't always happen around here.
That's the first time I've seen a president, former or current, greet an honor flight, and that is absolutely amazing. A commander-in-chief, a leader who's going to show up and tell you that your service was worth something. I think that's the important part, so I think it was a great thing to have.
Last
time I got to see a president, it was Gerald Ford.
How about that?
It was a joy in my heart today to see all these people. It's good. We still got people in our country, and that's good.
I had tears in my eyes. I just couldn't believe that there was that many people around that remembered us and was there to greet us, and it was just unbelievable.
Well, it means a lot because back then you got off the plane there and you had no welcome and people were almost booing you.
I'm real happy that now with current troops that come back from deployments, they get welcomed back really nice because that's what should happen. So it's being recreated in this flight and it makes you feel good.
I haven't flown for 50 years. And I was in the military from 72 to 76. Our country puts these things up, these memorials, honoring the men and women that served. You couldn't ask for something greater.
This has been going on over 20 years, and it started out very small, and now a lot of states have their own hubs, and they raise their own money and and they set up the whole flights. They set up where they're going to go, the buses, the flights. Flight like today from Madison, Wisconsin will come in the morning and leave in the afternoon, and we'll get them around to every monument we can within reasonable time. Every city in this country has got veterans in it, I guarantee it. Go up and say thank you, and just tell them how much you appreciate them.
Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Your support means the world to us. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss a show. We're live every weekday at 10 a.m. and 5 p.m. Eastern Time with new clips dropping at 2 p. and 8 p. And if you want even more Don Lemon Show content, join the Lemon community. Members get exclusive posts, behind-the-scenes videos, and live chats just for you. So hit the join button or visit our channel page to sign up. Thanks again for all your love and your support, and I'll see you next time.